And welcome back to Sports on Tap. It's our Ohio high school football coverage presented by RRT Productions. I'm your host, Rob Trauma. We have Josh, Jeffy, Ed, Dick here in the J studio.
Studio J. That's all right, though.
In Brunswick.
I think he just does it on purpose at this point.
Yep.
Yep.
It's a good time. It's not even worth correcting him. I mean, it is, but we know it's coming.
It's just, like, not even worth it, though. I mean, because it's not going to do anything.
That's right.
I know it's right. It's not.
Hey, I'll try. All right. We say what? Studio J?
Yeah, we've only been saying it for, like, I don't know, 2 years.
I'm glad you're asking us about this, you know.
Well, right now we're going to preview.
No, that's just a true reason why all you kids need to just stay in school.
Well, right now we're going to preview Week 8 as we look ahead to some of the big games coming up. Also give our spotlight games, and we will go over team rankings. And also, actually, we got to cover the Massillon Tigers and the Buckeye Bucks. Why don't we do that, actually, first? We'll cover the Massillon Tigers.
I was all ready to go with my piece of paper that I hand write on every week, and you make fun of me.
You were excited.
Why do you make fun of him for that?
I don't
That's
think
classic.
Well, do you know what? I said there are things such as computers that
No, I believe it was, hey, do you know what a computer is? With his.
It makes life a little easier. I'm just saying. I'm trying to help a brother out. Is what I'm.
Yeah,
trying to say.
I mean, you can't underestimate the value of
a pen.
Penmanship.
Correct. I still signed. I had to send these letters out to people from the casino. I hand signed every single one of them.
Well, that's very impressive.
Exactly. I mean, I could just do
I'm
some
just saying,
BS
for this. I mean, that's only signing one thing. There's
but I signed it like 50 times though.
There's a lot of. Well, do you know what? Get a stamp then, and just stamp your.
No,
your signature.
there's something to handwriting something that is just makes it more. I see your handwriting right now.
Yeah, I know, one thing.
So?
Not a full show here.
What's the problem with doing a full show?
It's a lot of work.
My God.
All right, anyway. Let's get back to the show. Ed's frustrated.
So how about them Massillon Tigers?
I'll tell you what a great trip we had. What a great
segue.
Yeah. What a great trip we had down to Massillon, Paul Brown Stadium. John Hunick, we had a chance to see him.
Yeah, we appreciate that, John.
Yeah, John, great job.
Thank you, us up.
Thank you, Coach. Much appreciated for
he did a great
helping
job.
us out there.
And you know what? His team, Massillon, struggled the week before against Austintown Fitch, only scoring 6 points. And they came out firing. You know, it was kind of a slow start at first. They were trying to get a groove. And then you could see that the Massillon Tiger offense saw that Ursuline was playing a lot of man on the outside. In fact, I called it. I called it on the outside. Next thing you know, Massillon's audibling, changing the plays, going go routes, single coverage on the outside. Next thing you know, they're scoring touchdowns. So John, if you need any help, buddy, I can maybe do some things with you. I'm just kidding with you. John can coach circles around me. He's probably forgotten more about football than I even know. So it's all good. But, yeah, Massillon did a good job of adjusting and trying to take advantage of what Ursuline was giving them. And they did a very good job, scored a lot of points.
Well, and I think one thing that was fun to watch was Coach Hunick going nuts on the sideline.
After every touchdown.
Every touchdown. I mean, I thought somebody was going to get kicked or hit by accident, obviously. But he gets into the game. It's fun to watch. Give him credit, though. Seth Blankenship was the quarterback, and you could tell that offense really fit him well. Lee Hurst used to be the quarterback on the team. He's now a wide receiver, and just the whole team is adjusting. You could tell they get along well. And it was Massillon who started with a Mike White touchdown as they made it 7-0 early on. This went back and forth for a little bit as Youngstown Ursuline responded with a Kamani Johnson 80-yard touchdown run. They missed the extra point. It was 7-6. Then Ursuline with a solid drive resulted in a field goal. It was 9-7. And I know Ed Dick would be really proud of this. Ursuline came back down and kicked another field goal. It extended the lead to 12-7.
How about that?
And I'll tell you what, Ed, you would have been really proud of some of these field goal kickers in this game.
Well, I would have preferred that they weren't scored on Massillon, but a good kick's a good kick. I mean, what are you going to do?
And after that, though, Massillon rattled off some touchdowns, a 31-yard touchdown to Austin J, 14-12 as the Tigers led. Then a 37-yard touchdown pass to Lee Hurst. It was 21-12 the Tigers led. And then Massillon, again, a touchdown pass to Montrell Stevens for 24 yards. It was 28-12 at halftime. And out of half, Ursuline would score first to cut the Tigers' lead to 28-18. Then Massillon would go on a 21-0 run led by wide receiver Lee Hurst with a 25-yard touchdown. Austin Jasinski took back a punt for a touchdown, and running back Keyshawn Watson took in a 1-yard touchdown. Massillon dominated Youngstown Ursuline to end the game 49-18, and Massillon improves to 3-4 on the year.
Hey, what are teams going to stop punting to Adam Jasinski? That's the second punt return for a touchdown this year.
Yeah, he was impressive in this game, and that's the difference. I mean, giving Massillon good field position offensively. You could tell Ursuline never got comfortable on the defensive side of the ball a lot of times. In the beginning, I think Massillon was still trying to figure out the Ursuline defense, and once Coach Hunick figured it out, boy, did they expose, the secondary a little bit.
I mean, when Massillon started to score, I mean, their first couple touchdowns, once they finally found their groove, were long touchdown passes, long completions for touchdowns, 30-plus yards. And, when it comes to field position or not, if you're going to give up big plays like that, you're going to be losing. And, scoring 49 points, that's their biggest offensive scoring output this season. So maybe some things are starting to click. One thing I did notice, Rob and I actually got to, just
Noted.
talk briefly to Coach Hunick after the half as he was coming out. Tell him, things are going well, good job. And he said there's still a lot of work to do. So even though the team was doing good, still never satisfied. And you'll get that with a coach and who's had a successful background with successful programs. And when you have a program that is legendary like Massillon, it was a great atmosphere for a game. I kind of got caught up in the aura of where it was because, that's Paul Brown Tiger Stadium. It's pretty famous. So when you go there, you could just tell there's people tailgating. We saw the indoor practice facility that John was talking about. We had him on before the season started. That was very impressive. And they even have a statue of Paul Brown in front of the entrance. So you could just tell the history and the town is very prideful of their Tigers, and it was just a great atmosphere. So I'm looking forward to coming down possibly, maybe even later this year or next year. It's going to be fun. So Massillon had a great performance. They really used a lot of their weapons and the passing game especially to have a nice victory.
And it was Lee Hurst who finished with 81 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have the stats for Seth Blankenship, the quarterback for Massillon, but I know he put up some pretty impressive numbers as well. And in the D2 Region 5, Massillon is now number 11, and the top 8 make it in that region. So still only 3 out. They're at 3-4, and I think they're doing what kind of Brunswick did too now. They're at 3-4, and I think they have a tough schedule ahead. But that was a game they definitely needed, and let's see if their confidence goes over to the next game and they can take that. But again, want to thank Coach Hunick for getting us down there. That was a blast to go, and again, the atmosphere of the stadium. It was a fun time, and great to see Massillon. Very impressive and a 49-18 win.
Seth Blankenship, 12 for 17 passing, 204 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Dynamite drop in, Monty. Thanks for doing that.
See, and
that's from the SOT Stats and
Research and Statistics Department.
Exactly.
Beautiful. Thanks, Ed, for
absolutely
for that update. That was perfect and right on.
Let's move on to the other non-conference team that we do talk about. Medina Buckeye, Coach Mark Penzoni out there with a lot of the boys from Brunswick that we used to play for. They continue their march to a perfect season, defeating rival Black River 48-7.
Wow.
The Pirates were never in this game. The Bucks, well, that's not true. I mean, the Bucks did trail 7-6 after the first quarter. But it was only a matter of time as they ran off 42 unanswered points to put the Pirates away. All Ohio running back, receiver. Trevor Tomey had 13 carries for 171 yards. That's a season high for him as far as rushing is concerned, and 2 touchdowns, while Justin Lowry had 2 touchdown receptions, 1 interception, and a couple passes defense for the Bucks. Undefeated Buckeye will host the 6-1 Oberlin Firelands.
Big game.
Yeah, that's in what will essentially be the de facto Patriot Athletic Conference Stars Division title game. So with that win, if Buckeye is able to get this win, they're pretty much going to assure themselves another conference title, and things are going to be looking pretty good for a home playoff game in Division III, Region 7. Their last 2 opponents are Keystone and Brookside. So lots of computer points on the line here for Buckeye with Oberlin Firelands coming up, and it's a big opportunity for Oberlin as well. I mean, this is a pretty big game. Oberlin Firelands has had a couple of successful seasons in recent memory, and a game like this is what they need to put their program over the top. So hopefully, I think this is going to be a very good game, and Buckeye does get to host this at Edwin Steingas Field out in York Township on 252 there. So we'll see what happens with Coach Pinzoni and the Bucks out there.
Yeah, congratulations to them. Again, they're continuing their successful year. And, I mean, a year you'll never forget if you're a Buckeye Bucks fan or player, coach. It's one that is going to be memorable because they've never had a season like this before. And hopefully it continues. Great job by Coach Pinzoni out there. Love to get him on the show and maybe see a Bucks game at some point to see what they can do in the playoffs. They're right now, I believe, they're number 4 in the D3 Region 7.
According to Joe Eitel.
JoeEitel.com.
By the way.
If it would behoove them to finish 10-0 because the top 3 teams that are ahead of them right now are Hoban, Poland, and St. Vincent St. Mary. So if you can try to hold off a date with one of those 3 teams until the second round, you most certainly want to do that.
Yeah, that's tough right there. But we'll see what happens. I mean, Buckeye right now, I don't know if they've even had a close game so far this season. They have rolled most of their games so far.
Yeah, their closest game was a 42-28 win over Rocky River, and that's proven to be a pretty good victory. As Rocky River's 6-1 this year. Mm-hmm. They're kicking some butt and taking some names in the Great Lakes Conference there. So that's an excellent team that Buckeye has, and they've beaten some quality opponent in Rocky River, and they have another one coming up in Oberlin Firelands.
Yeah, and as they continue on to their what seems to be a playoff run, this is where the experience of that coaching staff playing at Brunswick in all those playoff games, this is where it's really going to help them control the level of excitement of their players, and good for them. It's going to be fun. We're rooting for them for sure.
All right, now let's look ahead to Week 8 here and some great matchups. We'll start in the GCC with Josh Jeffy.
His handwritten notes.
Excuse me. All right, we're going to start one of the big games. Well, they're all big games now, but we're going to start with Menor 5-2 traveling to a 4-3 Strongsville. Strongsville's looking to get off the schneid, kind of not playing the best football right now. But again, Strongsville is led by Zach
Kahn.
And Menor has kind of been up and down lately with a few close games, so that's going to be one to watch.
Wait, is that Kahn against Blizzard?
Yes.
Boom.
Good call, Rob. Next game we have on the docket in the GCC is Solon, 5-2 Solon, traveling to 4-3 Elyria. Elyria is 1-3 in the GCC. It's kind of that's one that surprises you when you look at them. Elyria is 4-3, but they're 1-3 in the conference, so they're also looking to get off the schneid, coming off of a 23-10 loss to the Euclid Panthers. Medina 3-4, traveling to a 3-4 Shaker Heights team. This game is going to be on Saturday. Medina again losing 3 in a row. 3 really tough games, and their coach is trying to putting them on blast a little bit, saying they're going to need to start playing a little harder. First a few weeks ago started off reading their own press clippings, and then they just got dominated. And again, last week they got really out hustled and outworked by Menor. So they're looking to get off the schneid. Shaker looking to get off the schneid too, trying to get their first victory in the GCC after starting 3-0. So this is going to be an interesting game to watch. My spotlight game is the Thursday night affair. Brunswick Blue Devils, with a 3-game winning streak, that's 3-game winning streak in the conference, travels to Euclid, who is a very hot team as it is. We're looking to see improvement, continued improvement in that Brunswick offense. Trying a new offense this season, all young guys. We've been talking about it every week, and every week Brunswick has improved, and it showed in the standings where both teams are tied at 3-1 on top of the GCC. Both of these teams actually on a 3-game winning streak. This is going to get time where I'm interested to see how Brunswick, as they start getting some more success, how a young team's going to start handling that success. We saw earlier that, after that first victory, I wanted to see how they reacted to it. And they've done well so far by winning 3 in a row. Now they've gotten some confidence. Now they're going to be playing a team in Euclid that has just as much confidence, if not more. So this is going to be a very good game Thursday night. I believe it's the Fox Sports Ohio game of the week, I believe.
If it's on a Thursday, I would imagine it probably is. But, I agree with you, Josh. If all of a sudden, Brunswick can beat Euclid, I mean, that's not only going to get their confidence up, that's a huge
That's a lot of points right there, too.
Not only a lot of points, but, obviously their confidence is sky high going into the rest of the year, because that would be an absolute huge win for them. And I think that's going to be a really good game. We'll see how Euclid can handle the different offense Brunswick has now.
Yeah, I think Brunswick will have a little bit of an advantage with that, because it's tough enough to prepare for that that offense as is, but now they have one less day to do it. It's not the easiest in the world to simulate in practice if you don't run it all the time. So you guys, from a Euclid standpoint, they just got to hope that their athletes and their players can really just play football and just defeat the Brunswick line up front straight up. Make sure they make the reads and do what they need to do. From the Brunswick side, like you said, it's just about maintaining the momentum that they've built over these last 3 victories. And, the guys are very, they're starting to see that their hard work is paying off. And I've said it before, the offense now is a continual evolvement now. Now guys are starting to make the right blocks. They're starting to make the right reads. The guys they're supposed to let go, they're letting go. And now you're starting to see a player like Jacob Martin really starting to take off a little bit here. Alex Gillespie's getting 100 yards off of less than 20 carries a game. Mm-hmm. Nick Horton's running for tough yards, and he's finding his receivers as well. Victor Talley is a major threat in the passing game, and we've yet to scratch the surface as far as that potential is concerned.
Yeah, and one thing with Brunswick too is their ability to sustain long drives. They had a couple 10-plus play drives in this game, including a 15-yard scoring drive. So Brunswick has that ability, and if they can continue with that offense and keep the Euclid athletes like Chris Collins off the field, they're going to be able to really be competitive and possibly successful in winning this ball game. So it's going to be good. Now, Ed, just a little behind the curtain, how is Coach Beal trying to, temper the excitement and expectations of his guys, or is he just letting them, practice hard, or is the team itself buying in, realize that they haven't done anything yet, or are they just working hard to continue to improve? So how is the psyche of the team as of right now?
Well, it's hard to be cocky and think that you're better than you are when you're 3-4. When you're still under 500, it's hard to really think that you're better than you really are. So I think Coach Beal kind of has a built-in advantage there, where he doesn't really need to temper down any sort of cockiness, because the players know they haven't done anything yet.
Good.
That's ultimately what it comes down to. And starting out the year 0-4 and fighting for your playoff lives, essentially Brunswick's playing a playoff game every week now.
Yeah, that's a good point, because then you look at a team like Medina, who had that early success and maybe, as their coach said, read their headlines a little too much then it's starting to come back and bite them a little bit. Whereas, like you said, early struggles really helped them go through it, and they became a stronger team for it.
And the defense is playing at a pretty high level right now as well. I mean, they've done a really good job limiting Medina, limiting Leary, and limiting to Shaker to minimal big plays. That was a big thing that kind of that was an issue earlier in the year. Multiple big plays. Now they're still prone to giving up a big play or two here, but not to the point where it's you can expect one to happen once every quarter. And that's something that needs to continue because they're playing 3 teams coming up with big play capabilities at any point in time.
I was going to say, you look at Yuko, they're used to big plays. So if Brunswick can limit them, they're going to stick right in the game with them. So that's going to be fun to watch. Josh, great job on the GCC.
Thank you.
All right. Let's move to the Southwestern Conference. Week 8 games here, and Amherst, who still is looking to win, is going to have a tough game as they travel to Avon. And Avon coming off a big win at home against North Ridgeville. They'll take on that tough Amherst team. Olmsted Falls, they're coming off of a tough game. They're going to look to travel to Avon Lake now. So 2 games in a row on the road for Olmsted Falls. Can they recover after their loss at Midview? They take on Avon Lake, who just got beat pretty good by Berea Mid-Park. Midview, they travel to a winless Lakewood team. And Lakewood going to try to get their first win. It's going to be pretty tough as the league-leading Midview Middies are undefeated as they go into that game at Lakewood. Now, Westlake, they travel to North Ridgeville to take on the Rangers. They're going to look to recover after losing to Avon. Westlake getting their first win last week against Amherst. As can they ride high and go into North Ridgeville and pull a little bit of an upset there? We'll wait and see. And my spotlight game, Berea Mid-Park travels to North Olmsted, and I think this is going to be a battle of 2 really good teams. And I think this can go one of 2 ways. I think the offense is going to be a pretty high-scoring game. When you look at quarterback Christian Ammons, my conference MVP this week, him and Ryan Coleman have been connecting all year round. Can Berea Mid-Park contain those 2? And can North Olmsted defense contain Nick Gassman and the running game? I think Berea Mid-Park lately has really relied on their passing game. Brett Swinnerton, he's a tall, lengthy wide receiver that can make some big plays. North Olmsted defense is really going to have to contain Gassman if they want to stay in this game, but I think this is going to be a really fun game to watch. So Berea Mid-Park at North Olmsted is my spotlight game this week.
Major playoff implications there too. Berea Mid-Park is, they're still in the playoff. They're still technically qualified for the playoffs in Division I, Region 1. North Olmsted is just right outside there in Division 4. Division 2, Region 4. So, I mean, these are very, very important points for both teams to get.
Yeah, I think either one of these teams, if whoever wins this, will be kind of right there in the playoff. And they'll get some points, too, because both teams, obviously Berea Mid-Park has some solid wins, and North Olmsted does, too. So we'll see what happens there. But now let's move to the Suburban League and Ed Dick for his spotlight games in the American and National Conference.
All right, we have the Week 8 look-ahead here. This is exactly verbatim from what Sean Duffy wrote. Week 8 look-ahead. Props to you, Sean. That's special. We have Kent Roosevelt. The Rough Riders are 3-4 overall, 1-2 in the division. They're going to travel to Rudy Sharkey Stadium in Barberton to take on the Magics, 5-2 overall, 1-2 in the conference. This is a non-conference game. Warrensville Heights, 3-4, will go to Revere in Richfield to take on the Minutemen. They are 2-5 overall, 0-4 in the conference. Talmadge, the Blue Devils, are 1-6 overall, 1-2 in the conference. They're going to travel to Medina Highland in that nice new stadium to take on Coach Mike Gibbons and the Hornets, 4-3 overall, 2-1 in the division. The Week 8 spotlight game, we kind of had a feeling what this was going to be. It's going to be a major contest. Weston Bridges from Copley is going to lead his Indians, undefeated, 7-0 overall, 4-0 in the conference. They're going to travel to Aurora to take on the Green Men, 6-1 overall, 3-1 in the conference. This could be, you can consider this probably the de facto Suburban League American Division Championship game between these two teams, and this is going to be a fantastic game. And I'm interested in seeing how this plays out with Highland having dealt Aurora a loss. Copley has now defeated Highland. I want to see if Aurora can take out Copley now and kind of create a three-way deal going on there.
Yeah, I mean Aurora is a team that's still top in their region. They're right up there. They've only had one loss, obviously, to Highland, but still, they're probably going to be in the playoffs, and that's going to be a great, almost playoff atmosphere-like matchup with Copley. Copley's just been rolling over teams. If they roll over an Aurora team, I think that's saying a lot about Copley, but I think we're going to see a pretty good game there.
Yeah, and this is a potential playoff matchup again, too. They are in the same region. They are both in Division II, Region 3, so the winner of this game will most likely probably clinch a playoff spot and get real close to a home game, and we have a distinct possibility of seeing this game again in the playoffs. All right, let's move over to the National Division, the Suburban League National Division. Cuyahoga Falls winless. They are 0-7 overall, 0-4 in the division. They're going to travel to Stowe. I'm sorry, they're going to host Stowe. 7-0 overall, 4-0 in the division. I don't see too many good things happening for the Black Tigers here, unfortunately for them. Jason Gobble will probably have 500 yards rushing in the first half.
Wow.
That
would be impressive.
My bold prediction is that Jason Gobble does not play the second half of this game.
Mm-hmm.
We shall see what happens with that. My second game, we have Hudson. They're going to travel to Twinsburg. Hudson just suffered their first conference loss. They are 5-2 overall. They're going to go to Twinsburg, who is 0-7 overall, 0-4 in the division. We also have Nordonia taking on North Royalton. The Knights are going to travel to Serpentini Stadium to take on the Bears. Nordonia is 4-3 overall, 2-2 in the conference. North Royalton 2-5 overall, 1-3 in the conference. My spotlight game, and I'm actually pretty excited about this one. It's going to be the Brecksville Broadview Heights Bees taking on the Wadsworth Grizzlies.
Oh, great matchup.
I'm pretty pumped about this. This is going to be a pretty solid match. Wadsworth has 3 straight victories. They're 3-4 overall, 3-1 in the conference. Brecksville Broadview Heights 6-1 overall, 3-1 in the conference. So you got a battle of second place teams here. Wadsworth don't let Wadsworth's record fool you. I mean, their 3-4 is to some solid teams. I think their worst loss obviously was a 62-6 thrashing at the hands of Medina. But I know all Ohio.
That was surprising too on that one. But like you said, like you were gonna say.
Yeah, well, you're exactly right. Dan Weinerman did not partake in that game. He had I know he was injured for that game, but we're really starting to see Wadsworth come together as a team here. Brecksville Broadview Heights, they might be slipping a little bit the other way. We'll with quarterback Luke Sternad having been out for the majority of the last 2 games. Dan Chirilla's got his work cut out for him. He's got some weapons. Tyler Tupa is obviously a major weapon that the Grizzlies need to account for. But at the same point, at the other side, Wadsworth has a 2-headed running back monster combo with Dan Weinerman and Alex Jones, who was the Week 7 MVP in the Suburban League National Division.
Yeah, and I think this is a game that Brecksville needs to get back in the winning column here. Otherwise, like you said, their starting quarterback goes out, Strenad, and they haven't really been the same. They had to change probably some things there. But Wadsworth, on the other hand, seems to be winning and figuring out their ways. Brecksville's really going to have to stop that running game and get some kind of leverage up front because, Wadsworth's offensive line seems like they're really doing a great job up front for both running backs. So that's going to be a fun game to watch. I think it either could be high scoring, and I think that's how it will be. I think there'll be some points scored here, but we'll see if the defenses can stand up a little bit.
Right, you are, Rob. And you have thoughts going on for Week 7 going into Week 8 here. I mean, we're really getting into crunch time here as far as conference races are concerned, and really most importantly, the playoff races coming up.
Yeah, I was going to say if we want to go quickly over some of the team rankings, looking at Joe Itel's website here, joeitel.com, Midview right now, and this is the top 8 will qualify for the playoffs in Division II, Region 4. Right now, he has Midview number 1 at 7-0, and it says they will control their own destiny. Along Perrysburg 2, Avon is 3 at 6-1. North Ridgeville fell to number 6 at 5-2. And then Medina Highland at number 8 right now at 4-3 in this division. Olmsted Falls right behind them at 5-2. And then North Olmsted, we talked about it, at number 12. Wadsworth is actually 15 and Avon Lake 16 in this Ohio or the Division II Region 4. So a lot of teams really close and that we cover that are either on the outside looking in or just barely in right now. Other than obviously Midview, Avon, North Ridgeville, and some other teams, but that's going to be interesting to see coming down to the end here.
Yeah, and you can see a decided drop here between the 9th and the 10th team. Olmsted Falls right now, their average points, or what essentially what comes out to be, they're at 10.05, whereas Sylvania Northview is at 5.77. I mean, that's a lot of time. That's a lot to make up there. Pretty much anything and everything needs to go wrong for Olmsted Falls, and anything and everything needs to go right for the remaining teams in order for them to get back into contention. So, I don't want to say that this race has been decided already, but I think we're looking at the top 9 teams here, and 8 out of the 9 are going to get in. Depends on what happens here.
But if you're looking at the GCC, according to Joe Itel, half the teams, half of the 8 are in the playoffs, and that goes Mentor, Euclid, Solon, and Elyria. They are 5, 6, 8, and 16 respectively. So right now, if the playoffs were to start today, according to Joe Itel, you'd have Elyria with the final spot. But then you have Strongsville and Brunswick right behind with ranked 17th and 18th. And then rounding out the GCC as far as joeitel.com goes, Medina at 23 and Shaker Heights 24. So teams like Brunswick, who are playing good, playing with a lot of momentum right now, tied for the lead in the conference. They're on the outside looking in, but one victory, if it could happen this Thursday, that could vault him into that playoff. Now, Elyria is kind of playing not as good as of late, along with Strongsville. Both teams are kind of, playing more on a downward slope compared to how they were playing at the beginning of the season. But, teams like Solon and Euclid are really playing good football right now. They're well on their way up. And Mentor's kind of a roller coaster of a team. 1 week you're good, then the next you're not. They're up and down, even though they're 5-2. Some games haven't been so good, but they're finding still ways to win, and that's just the Mentor program. That's what you have. So, like we mentioned now, every game is a playoff-type atmosphere, and every game is important for you to win. So we'll see what happens.
And there's still 3 weeks left. You have week 8, 9, and 10 left, but especially with Brunswick, when you're playing a team like Euclid who has had some success beating some really good teams, that's when you can really gain the points. Obviously, if you're going to play a team that has no wins, you're not going to get very many points there. So it's going to be fun to watch, here at the end of the season, and when you see some of the really big matchups, I think Wadsworth and Brecksville, I think that could be a good game for Wadsworth, especially to get some points.
Yeah, and Wadsworth they still do have another. I mean, they have a really outside shot. I mean, it's going to be a tough go for them, though. I mean, starting out 0-4 did not do them any favors, and especially in that region, as loaded as it is, it's going to be rough for the Grizzlies to make up some ground there. I'm looking for Brecksville, Broadview Heights, really to, they need this game greatly to make their noise in Division II, Region 3. Real quick. In the American Division, Aurora and Copley are 1 and 3 respectively. In the Division 2, Region 3, Barberton is 13th in Division 2, Region 3. Some of the other teams that see Kent Roosevelt, Talmadge, and Revere, they're all under 500, and they're all not looking too hot as far as the playoff spots concerned. Highland is 4 and 3 right now. They are in the 8th spot in Division 2, Region 4. So they got a little bit of work to do on their end to maintain that spot there. And lastly, in the National Division, Stowe Munroe Falls, they're number 3 in Division 1, Region 1. we talked about that earlier today, and that's a murderer's row right there of a division, and right now they're sitting just 2 spots from the top. Brushwood Broadview Heights is in second place. We just talked about them, ranked 11th in Region 3. Hudson is ranked 7th in Region 3. They would qualify for the playoffs if the playoffs ended today. Wadsworth at 15 overall in Region 4. Nordonia got an outside shot at getting into Region 3. They're number 10. North Royalton in Division 1, Region 1, they are 31st. Twinsburg winless in Region 3. They are tied for 25th. And Cuyahoga Falls, they are winless in Division 1, Region 1. They are tied for 33rd.
Yeah, and you know one thing, I didn't mention Berea Mid-Park, but they're actually in the playoffs in the Region 1 D1, Division 1. They're 15th right now, so they're still in, and Elyria is 16th. Strongsville and Brunswick right behind them, so they're actually still in. And do you know what's surprising is St. Ignatius is 20th in that ranking there. So
you know what's hurting them is 3 of their 4 victories are against Parma, Valley Forge, and Normandy.
Oh wow! I didn't know that.
That's that's kind of the risk reward deal that you have there. I mean, a team like St. Ed's that's playing all these out of state schools, they're and they're winning. So I mean, that's just obviously their average is 24.8. It's head and shoulders above everybody else in the region. But St. Ignatius, I mean, the big games they needed to win, over Mentor and St. Joseph's Prep, they have not won. So that's really what's kind of keeping them down to where they are now. So I mean, they're really going to need a good push. Definitely going to need to beat St. X in Week 9, and obviously the Holy War speaks for itself.
Yeah, good point, Ed, and interesting stat there. So good points. But I want to thank everyone for listening to Sports on Tap's Ohio High School football coverage, presented by RRT Productions. Again, good luck to all the teams, coaches, and players out there as they head to Week 8. We'll come back strong as ever on Monday as we give you, the Week 8 recap and Week 9 look ahead, much, much more. But we're Sports on Tap. I want to thank everyone for listening. Check us out on Twitter and Facebook. We upload all these in our archive to iTunes, YouTube, Podomatic. We're all over the place, so get involved with the show. Also, neosportsinsider.com if you want Cleveland sports and our podcast up there. For Josh Jeffy, Ed Dick, Sean Duffy, I'm Rob Troutman. I want to thank you for listening. Again, we're Sports on Tap. Have a great week, everyone.
For the best coverage of Cavs, Indians, and Browns, check out neosportsinsiders.com. neosportsinsiders.com brings you breaking news, opinions, and video from all things related to your favorite Cleveland sports teams. Like us on Facebook and follow at NEO Sports Insiders on Twitter for live updates from all the games. neosportsinsiders.com, bringing you the best in Northeast Ohio sports coverage.
Join Sports on Tap the first Thursday of every month at Z's Cream and Bean, 2706 Boston Road in Hinckley, Ohio, as Sports on Tap talks local Ohio high school sports, Cleveland sports, and national sports topics. It's all happening at Z's Cream and Bean the first Thursday of every month starting at 7:30 p.m. Join us. You're listening to Sports on Tap's Ohio High School football coverage live on Mixlr. Live streaming every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Remember to check us out on Twitter at SOT Podcast and use the hashtag SOTHSF to post score, stats, and pictures from all your high school football games. Like us on Facebook and listen to all of our archive shows on iTunes, YouTube, and Podomatic. Again, our coverage starts every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. We're Sports on Tap. Sport.